Okay, we got those pouches all finished, and now we're gonna do the easiest thing on our list, which are tunnels. You need your fleece. I'm gonna make 2 tunnels, but I'm gonna show you guys how to make 1. I'm making 2 because previously said my gliders really like tunnels, so you know, if they really like the easiest thing to make, then I'll make them 2. So, okay, so you have a 14 by 13 inch rectangle and then a 13 by 18 inch rectangle. You want the 14 inches to be the length, I think. No, you want this have a more narrow than this. This will stretch, and when you roll the edges over, it won't lay flat against this part, and then so you want this narrower opening on like this. You want this narrower than this. So we're going to do this with the 13-inch sides on top. And don't forget, when you sew this up, you want to make sure you have your tabs in there. By all means, make a tunnel longer. If you make a tunnel longer than this, I would suggest adding a 3rd tab in the center. This size only needs 2. So, and then because we're going to be rolling the fleece over, instead of doing, you know, 1.5 inches, you know, you want to try and go in maybe 2 or 3 inches for these tabs. And then, you know, you can fold in half and get really matchy-matchy. Like this. See, you fold it in half, approximately. And then you can see... Look, I'm dropping everything today. See where your other tab should go, approximately. And you can do this with your pouches and your other items as well to get them really, really even. So that is about where my tabs would be. So we're going to do our regular straight stitch and our zigzag stitch, and we can go ahead and make our tube for the fleece as well. So, and then, you know, just throw some clips on that to keep the edges vaguely lined up. And then we're gonna just sew with our regular straight stitch, and my jumper is gone. I'll use my ugly jumper. It might actually still be on my other pouch. Guess I wasn't paying attention. Which happens. And then you want to do your bag. Stitch at the end, and without breaking thread, go ahead and sew up your fleece. On the right spot. So we sewed that up. What I did to force my machine to go through, don't recommend doing that. And actually, if you look at where it's snagged here, it's not that bad. Sometimes when I turn my hand wheel backwards instead of going forwards, the threads will catch on the hook, and then they don't want to cooperate, and then they don't look so pretty. But as you can see, I know how to turn my hand wheel to get it to stop doing that. If you're not comfortable doing that with your machine, the best advice is if your machine doesn't sound quite right, stop what you're doing and fix it. I obviously did not do that because I knew what was wrong and I was able to fix it without stopping. But if you don't know what you're doing, stop. Immediately stop. A lot of problems can be fixed if you rethread your machine. And now I'm going to do my zigzag. And these seams are going to be completely enclosed, so don't worry about backstitching here. And we are actually almost done with this already. Okay, so what you're going to do is we're going to pull your tunnel right side out. See, look how nice that already looks. You got your tabs. And then you're going to pull this one right side out as well. Okay, so now you're going to line up your edges and you're going to put your fleece inside. Nope, see, I did it backwards. This stays like this. And then you're going to put your fleece inside your flannel. And then matching up seams, not rocket science here. That's not super duper important. Okay, so you want to make sure it's approximately sticking, the fleece is sticking out on both sides about the same amount. Okay, so mine needs to go this way a tiny bit. Okay, and that was too much, so. Okay, and then what you're going to do is, sadly, expose the free arm because we will need it. Okay, and now, with your fleece, what you're going to do is you're going to fold it over. And then, you're going to fold it over again. And then trying to line up your seams and make sure your flannel looks good. If your flannel gets a little bunched up, it's okay. It won't be the end of the world. And then you're going to do the same on your other side. You do want to make sure that your flannel is tucked underneath the edges of the fleece here. Okay. You want to make sure your raw edges of your fleece are tucked under in this cuff all the way around. If you want to pin, you can go ahead and pin. It's not entirely necessary, but you just want to make sure that there is enough flannel all the way around your tunnel tucked in, so when we sew it, it stays nice and neat when you sew. And you could just put your fingers in there and feel the edge. Okay, so this is what we got so far. And what we're going to do is we're going to put it under the free arm, and we're just going to sew, 1/8 to 1/4 inch all the way around on this edge. And you're like, exposed seams, oh no! Well, not really. There's 3 layers of fleece right here, and there's a layer of flannel. So when we sew, these stitches are going to be pretty far down in there that your gliders won't ever be able to get to them, and you may not even be able to see the stitching when we're done. So, and then you're going to do that to both ends, and we're done. So this is the quickest, fastest, and fewest seams of all. So let me move my machine a little closer, move that, and then it's going to be a snug fit to get this under your free arm. And then my seams are not lining up from all the tugging I've done. I'm just going to move that. Now you can backstitch at the beginning and at the end. However, it is easier to not backstitch at the beginning, hit the same line of stitching when you return, and then backstitch on top of it. So you'll still have your three sets of stitches on top of each other, except for you'll go all the way around, go a little further past it, and then go back. And that's just so you don't have the extra bulk of the seams. And because this is going to, because this is really thick right here and it's really tight, you're going to probably have to help it along a little. And this is going to be a little awkward because it is so tight on the free arm. And I'm just using the approximate edge of my my foot to do my edge. Before you get to the end, I recommend you clip your starting threads. Once you start going back over them again, they're gonna tangle with the new threads that are gonna be coming in. So just trim those threads away so there's nothing that can get tangled. Keep on going. I'm going to go a little bit past my seam and then backstitch to the seam. And then raise my needle, and this edge is done. If I can. There. Okay. And then trim the threads. Very, very close. Okay, so we got this one done. And see, because we used a shorter piece of fleece, that the flannel, it's not perfect on the outside, but it's very flush, very neat, and when it hangs, it'll have this nice opening that your gliders will like to see and crawl through, and then you can tell there's that seam that we just sewed, and there's it on the other side. It is very, very, very deep in there. They won't ever be able to get to that. And then what you're gonna do the exact same thing to this side, and you're done with this one. And then you can set it aside in your pile. I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I'm gonna make my other tunnel. And then we're gonna do the hardest thing, which is making our hanging toy box. It is not really that hard. It's just, some strange angles that we're gonna have to sew through. And then we're gonna have to get our iron out and our interfacing as well. If you choose to use interfacing, I highly recommend it. I haven't used one without interfacing. I've also used a little plastic piece of canvas in one of mine for the integrity. I mean, you just need something that is strong. I like the interfacing because I can iron it on and I don't have to worry about it shifting in the wash. So that's what that's for.